America's Mayor Live, the 711th production show extravaganza, fastest hour
on the internet
or two on the internet, including soccer time, which we can no longer call soccer. We have to call it football, the president said. I don't know. America first, Mr. President? What is this football soccer thing? You know, it really is true, though. When you think about it, how often do they use their feet in soccer, and how often do we use our feet to kick the football? So I don't know. What would we call football if we didn't call it football? If we gave them soccer, what would we call football? Pass ball? Run ball?
Handball?
Run pass ball?
Handball?
Handball.
Tackle ball.
Oh, yeah.
That's tough.
Tackle ball.
Remember when they used to tackle in football?
How about manly ball?
Yeah, that was the NFL 20 years ago.
I don't see any trans trying to become football players.
Yeah, but that was 20, 30 years ago. Football's gotten...
Yeah. They tried a few kickers, right?
Right.
They went about 20 yards, I think. Low. So apparently somebody tried to knock off the prime minister of Iran, Pezeshkian. Not bad, huh? Pezeshkian. Prime Minister Pezeshkian, murderer that he is, and good friend of our friend, Tucker Carlson, who let him say on his show, we never killed any Americans, just 4,000 or 5,000. But he never got the 4,000 or 5,000 out because Tucker sat there. I don't know. I really want to find out. When the guy said, I never killed any Americans, which is like an insane lie, Pezeshkian, who himself did, right? Tucker sat there like this. You know, Tucker is very, for a guy who's like anti-Ivy League stuff, he's like very, preppy, right? Preppy. Sits like this.
Yeah, he looks.
So say it. Just say, I never killed. One of you played Pezeshkian. First of all, he never asked any questions. Pezeshkian just talked. So be the interpreter for Pezeshkian.
Give us an example of when Iran has killed an American. You can't name one example of when Iran has been responsible for the death of an American. You point to one example.
You see me? That was Tucker.
Right.
Give me an example of when one American was killed by an Iranian.
Ooh, that's good.
Give us one.
I
Yes,
don't know.
give one example.
I do not know.
I'm trying to bring it up.
Tucker, we need an explanation. The guy is a mass murderer of Americans. You gave him your microphone. I'm not opposed to that. I like that. Even when I was a baby kid, and I really enjoyed it, really appreciated it when I got to hear from Russian, so I could make my own. Remember my one of my college professors, a fabulous teacher. I think he was a Czechoslovak by background, but he was an American citizen. Great political scientist. He brought in a Russian delegate from the UN, and the whole class was so excited to see a Russian, right? And he let him go on and on and on and on. Just let him go on. And then he ripped the shit out of him. Ripped the living shit out of him. Jarolowski, the professor's name was. Just ripped the shit out of him. By the time the guy left, he was like, his tongue was on the floor. Well, that's what Tucker should have done to this guy. We could have started with the Marine barracks, right? Gosh, we could have gone right through. We could have gone right through the attacks in the 80s. Then we could have gone through. We could have gone through Soleimani, all the people he killed. The reason that Trump's taking him out was really not heavily condemned is because the guy killed an inordinate amount of Americans. I mean, the Quds Force was probably the only effective thing in Iraq. except we basically decimated them and then decimated him. But how does he let the guy say that? I mean, even if you're not an American and love this country, you don't let a guy lie about murdering your people. I like Tucker a lot. Consider him a friend. Respect him. Think he's made a big contribution. But I'm completely flabbergasted at both his interview of that guy and the less questionable, but somewhat, I mean, I kind of half defended him and half didn't on his interview of Putin. I mean, I'd like to interview Putin. I don't think he'd like to have me interview him. But I think if you get a guy like that, what's the use of having him just spout lies? You might as well just come on by himself. I do not object at all to have any of these people on. I do object if you don't have the balls to question them. I mean, it would not be outrageous at all. He's suspected of doing all this. The whole world thinks he did all this. Well, Pezeshkian, I guess, back in June, got injured a little. I think he got a little scar on his face or something. It didn't really matter because he's ugly as hell anyway. So we know that this weekend, namely yesterday, was the anniversary of Butler County. And we have covered this really pretty much in detail. And Dr. Maria has too. And we're going to have you go to her show as soon as you're finished here. And she does have some coverage on it tonight. The only question I have is, why the hell do we know so little about it? I mean, I'm probably exaggerating a teeny bit. I don't think we know much more than after the first 2 or 3 days. That's outrageous. And now that we see that there's a crowdfunding place called the Covenant Group that's putting out money to try to kill Trump, that there are fatwas that go back 2-3 years, a whole group of them right before that happened, and why is no one trying to make the connection between the two things? I'm not saying they're connected. I don't know. I do know that if I were in charge of this, that'd be a heavy part of my investigation. I told you, I don't know how many times, when you investigate a murder, you put out a list of the chief suspects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you concentrate your investigation on them. And if you don't get them, you'll get the real guy by doing that. Gosh almighty, watch Charlie Chan, and you'd figure that one out. Who's concentrating the investigation on Iran? We're negotiating with them. How can we negotiate with a country where we are suspicious that they may have tried to kill our president? And if we're not suspicious, will you please explain that to us? And now we find out they've got a crowdfunding situation for $40 million. To kill him, you get $40 million and you go to paradise. I have a suspicion they got it reversed. In Dante's Inferno, there's 3 places. I don't think paradise, Il Paradiso, I don't think that's the place he's going. I don't think it's Il Purgatorio either. It's l'Inferno. Ah, yes, we Italians know where you go. L'Inferno. So there's a very disturbing report, I guess among many from Camp Mystic. The one that I'm disturbed about the most is why the heck the children, the little babies, cabins were put right by the river, and the older kids were up on the high ground. It would seem to me, if you had to put anybody on the low ground, you'd put the more experienced kids on the low ground. And it also seems to me, and maybe we should take a trip there at some point, Ted. I don't see why they couldn't have fit the kids on the high ground. But in any event, now there's a whole confused situation about the older children waking up somewhere during that confusing evening and hearing screaming coming from the cabins below. Remember, the older kids are on the high ground. The other kids are right next to the Guadalupe River. And they were being told, no, they were all evacuated. They were all evacuated. Then when they finally get up in the morning, because a lot of them slept through it, believe it or not, it took like 12 hours for the helicopters to get, they were stranded. The ones on the high ground were stranded. And it took about 12 hours for the helicopters to get there. So I know there's a lot of stuff about the signals and whether there was a proper modern, and there wasn't, signaling system and how effective that would be or not be. And there's no reason there shouldn't have been one. So I'm not arguing either way on that. But I am saying I don't get any explanation of what those kids were doing there at sea level. And then I don't understand what's going on now where the kids up there were told that the kids down there were safe. Now, were they doing that just to calm the kids down? Or was it misinformation? That's really important.
Well, you don't want to send a bunch of youngsters out into the field on their own, right? If they feel it, take it upon themselves to go look. But then you got more.
But so that's the question I'm asking. Were they lying to them so they wouldn't run down there? Or is that what they really believed?
Yeah, well, yeah, it is all speculation.
We don't know.
It wouldn't hurt to go down there and figure all that out.
But the adults should have gone down there.
They'd value your guidance on that, I think.
No, but I really would. I mean, and I really feel like, look, the man who ran this place was a good man, and he died trying to save it. I don't want to give his memory any grief or any problems, or I just want to know so when they do it again, they do it right. Like, how about we put all the kids on high ground? How about out of an excess of caution, we evacuate rather than stay there like a bunch of, stay there? How about we get our communications? Let's figure out if our communications were correct or incorrect so we can get them straight next time. Not to blame anybody, not to sue anybody. Look, you're going to sue anyway. This was a terrible, terrible tragedy. Let's treat it as such so it doesn't happen again. I don't know if all of you are aware of Voice of America, but Voice of America was an enormously valuable tool in the fight against the Soviet communists. And it has become a disgusting pro-Marxist, something like public radio. And public radio is so bad, they should give it to I don't know, Venezuela. And why we're funding it is beyond me. But Voice of America was different. Voice of America straight out and out is American propaganda. Instead, Voice of America was doing anti-American propaganda. So I understand why we defunded it. Here's the problem. Where we've defunded it in places where China wants access, China is the only voice now. So Voice of America is gone, which probably is good because we were just backing up what China was saying anyway. But China is the only voice. So why don't we have a real Voice of America? Like really America, not Voice of China 1 and Voice of China 2, which is what the Democrats were giving us. And maybe it could be privately funded if we want to keep the government out of this. Although I see something wrong with the government funding a domestic thing that pretends to be a radio or a television station. That's too damn communist. I don't see anything wrong with the government funding that for the purpose of selling the American message abroad. And it really was quite effective. Many witnesses will tell you that. Even during the war in Japan and the war in Germany, and it was very effective during the Cold War. People in the Soviet Union, people in Poland, people in Lithuania, people in Austria will tell you they counted on it. Well, that's gone now. It's better that it's gone, actually, because all it was a backup to the communist propaganda for at least the last 10, 15 years. And nobody was paying attention to it except the damn commies that had infiltrated. but the idea itself is a very good idea. And let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater, just to use a cliche, because I feel like it.
Oh, what if you just make a new bath? You know, we almost need to at this point. It's gotten bad, but we need a positive voice, a positive way to communicate with the rest of the world. And that would just make it better for everyone.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I remember being on The Voice of America when I was in the, I remember being on The Voice of America a lot when I was in the Reagan administration. I remember doing a lot of interviews because I was in charge.
It wasn't
I was
corrupt,
in charge
yeah.
of a lot of the presentations to the FISA court. Now, of course, I couldn't tell them the FISA court stuff, but because of that, I knew a lot of the information they wanted to get out, and I always was kind of good on. Well, I used to be on a lot. Let's put it that way. So, you know who's in charge of this is Kerry Lake.
Yes.
And we should talk to her. Kerry is enormously smart, and Kerry is media savvy, and Kerry should be the governor,
Amen.
the senator, the vice president. Well, not the vice president. Vance is okay.
Solid team around her, I will say. They go viral quite a, you know, they know how to use it.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand the difficulties she had as a candidate. Look, when I see her on television, from the very beginning, I mean, she's one of the most, and she isn't, you know, she isn't like too smooth either. Sometimes you get these people that are good on television and they're just a little too smooth. She's like very real.
A lot of people said Vivek was too smooth. Until one very famous tweet.
Ted and I had a love affair with Vivek, so we were.
I like him.
Yeah, but we were not objective about Vivek because we picked him out early. We became friends with him early.
We like Vivek.
We knew he was going to. We
yeah.
knew from the very beginning. Because
We did.
Ted was a little worried about supporting him, and when I met with him, I said, "No, this guy's going to be good for Trump."
Yeah, but people say he's just always on, like, you know, always has. The
Maybe
perfect-
if
I like
they had
Vivek.
kept him, he would have contained Elon a little.
Right.
Like there was no counter. When he started that, president may have had the right. I mean, the president's a good judge of these things, and we every once in a while get them wrong. But when the president first put that together, he had a yin and a yang. You know, he had Elon and he had Vivek. And despite the fact that Elon obviously is a very strong personality and the richest man in the world has a very strong presence, that never would faze Vivek. You could be the richest man in the world, Vivek wouldn't give a shit. Maybe the laws of Vivek hurt Doge a little. What do you think? Think I have something there?
I think you're onto something there. Vivek's I think in almost any situation, having two brilliant minds can be conducive.
It could have only made it better.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
right.
I expected
honestly,
a lot more
please,
out of Doge.
Elon, we love X, don't throw us off. But I think Vivek is a little more politically savvy than Elon. Now, I told you about Vivek when we first met. His problem is going to be he make rookie errors. And he did. But so did I. So
Not
did I.
many. See, it's more just like a few critical ones.
He made some that got you very angry at him, Steven.
Yeah, a few critical ones.
When you say he's anti-American, remember when you thought he was anti-American?
Well, yeah, that's the one critical one. That's the one critical one. Otherwise, I loved it. You know, I was all about it.
Football and dancing and high school prom. He wasn't a big fan of that.
You know, these Chinese characters are really slippery. You know what they're doing now? So we put these heavy tariffs on them, right? So they're selling their stuff. First, they started selling their stuff to other countries. And I think we have a secondary tariff on them too. So that, now they're moving their companies in the middle of the night to the low tariff places like Vietnam. And they're putting it out like it's coming from Vietnam. So they moved the tariff down from like 40% to like 20 or 10, which is a pretty acceptable tariff. And then they sell it to Lowe's or Hasbro, who claim they can see through this, but apparently they haven't. And maybe it's hard to. Now, here's what I say. The real prize here, for me, is Vietnam. I think of an alliance against China, And as I said, I don't know, maybe in the earlier show or this show, I think it's brilliant what Trump has done with NATO. I mean, they had a Bastille Day parade in France today, and it looks like they're ready to go to war against Russia. Biggest Bastille Day parade ever, the most military units ever. The enthusiasm for kicking the shit out of Putin is tremendous, according to Trump, who said the morale in Europe is the best that he's ever seen. And I know from his first couple of trips way back, and even Bush's way back, that they were very concerned about the morale in Europe, meaning Europe doesn't want to fight. They want to fight against Putin. And in some ways, when Biden was there, they wanted to fight more than Biden. And sometimes it appeared as if they wanted to fight more than Trump. But you got to watch out for Trump. This is a very elusive guy. In our benefit, he should be. Damn, a president can't be an open book. Well, sometimes. But in any event, China is slipping their companies in. Now, what we really have to do, if our intelligence operation has gotten rid of the 51 spies who lied and all the lazy bums who were stealing and trying to work for defense companies, and the ones who, all the 51 names that said that Trump and I were Russian agents, and we had a hard drive that had earmarks of Russian collusion. Now, I have a hard time defending myself against that. I don't know what an earmark is. There were no on the documents and the device, 2 devices, given to me by John Mac Isaacs from Delaware, which was a multi-year computer of one Hunter Biden. I saw no Chinese earmarks. But I'm not as smart as they are, like Brennan and Clapper and Francis Cardinal Comey or James Cardinal Comey. I'm not as smart as they are. So they may know what earmarks are. But I asked President Trump if he saw any earmarks. He didn't see any earmarks either. You think maybe they were damn liars and traitors to the United States? You think maybe those 51 who pretty much spanned intelligence from Clinton up until the day of Trump, you think they effed up American foreign policy the way they effed up that document? I want to see somebody write that history. These aren't Americans. These are what George Washington would have said were traitors. How disgusting. So we got to watch this with China. But what I say here is there's an opportunity for us. These countries are not going to appreciate that. They worked hard to get these low tariffs. Vietnam scored a tremendous coup. They're not going to want to give it away to a country they've hated for 2,000 years, China. Too bad we didn't know that when we went to war in Vietnam. I was looking at a certain school today, college too. I have an idea for a course. I wanted to see how many courses they had over the summer for history. They have, the histories they have are like ridiculous. The history of candy. I don't know, do you really think you're going to learn a lot about the history of candy?
A lot of these are contextual. I'll defend some of these courses. You learn about America in the context of candy. Warren Buffett once made it one of the mainstays of his portfolio, and the history of candy kind of walks you through the history of the country.
If they knew that George Washington was the first president, John Adams the second, and they knew all that, then they could do candy. But how about they learn that first?
Yeah.
Well, candy is how we bring it to these people, you know. Oh, and
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
do you
sure.
think it's better if they could recite the entire history of candy or understand what the Declaration of Independence is all about?
Well, there's no contest there. I would hope
Okay.
that. I would hope that.
So
what
I would
hope
agree
that
with you. If these people, but they don't.
candy should be the elective, and the Declaration should probably be the core.
Right. And if
But
you,
candy, you can have some fun with it. I took a sailing
yeah, and if
course,
you
and
take
it was a lot
candy,
of
you're
fun.
one of those people who wants to fill in your, what do you used to call those courses that
What is
didn't
it?
that didn't mean anything? You could just get a couple of
Like
credits.
a filler.
Filler, bullshit,
Yeah, elective.
cheating.
Oh, I took
Yeah, but no,
sailing.
electives can be very, very challenging, or they can be. But the ones where you got your 3 credits and you didn't have to do shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, one sailing trip is what we had to do for our sailing course.
Okay,
Back
time
to
for
it.
a big discussion. Epstein. I need all my brains here. What the hell is going on? We are in the middle, personally, of a very difficult situation here, right? All of us. We, in varying degrees, right, admire, respect, and agree with Cash, Bondi, and of course, Dan Bongino. We have no reason to ever think they would do anything against the country or against First or against Trump or against truth or, okay, put that aside. On the other hand, the questions aren't, I don't know, the questions aren't answered, right?
That's
I mean, what do you think? So what's going on?
That's
Nobody
right.
is stuck with this. We could be all wrong. We probably are, but what do you think?
we need answers. We need the list. It needs to be released, and when we say list, what we mean is names, and details and information. Okay, there's these tapes of child porn. That's what they say. They can't release the tapes because it's child pornography. Well, we ought to know who else is in those tapes. Name names. If you're saying you can't release these tapes because we understand that nobody wants to see that, don't release that.
We don't need
What
to
we
know
want is who are the adults in those films, if any, right?
We
And
don't
to
need.
ensure that they're facing justice appropriately.
And it's not
right?
just about Epstein anymore. I mean, we cannot allow the elite in this, or a group of individuals in this country, to get away with harming the most innocent among us, children. And so we can argue over who's to blame for the lack of the release, but it's plain and simple, right? Release the names. Release what you
Well,
got.
Don't you have to release the names in context? What does it mean to release the names? Suppose somebody is on an Epstein, well, they say there are no Epstein lists. So I'm going to say they're telling the truth about that. There was no list of clients like we thought there was. But here's what there is, I would imagine, or at least explain it to me. There have to be the indications of who was on the plane.
Sure.
Or indications of what like inappropriate conduct occurred,
Well, I don't know. Doesn't there have to be, if he flew from New York to Paradise Island or whatever the hell it was, Pervert Island, doesn't there have to be a log that says pilot X, pilot Y, four passengers, and here's their passport?
Yeah, and a lot of that is actually already out. We have a good deal of flight.
So why isn't that all analyzed? And we see how often people went to Paradise Island. Why? What is? How are we defaming someone by saying they were on a plane and they went to Paradise Island over a 10-year period 4 times?
Well, if they did it, then we're not defaming them at all.
And shouldn't they be required, given the fact that Paradise Island has a lot of this crap going on, and I guess, I mean, shouldn't they have to say, I went, but I didn't do anything, or?
Yeah, and
Sure.
with the level of attention around this matter and the level of intrigue, they're going to have a platform to defend themselves if they're there for,
Well, nobody, I get,
which I believe there are a lot of people who got caught up in that world just because of the high, net worth high society individuals there, the people were there for other reasons besides
And-
like indulging
And
in the
suppose they're holding it
bad
back
behavior.
because they're saying, if your name appears there, it's unfair because we don't know what you did. Well, shouldn't they at least tell us that?
Yes.
Shouldn't there at least be an explanation saying, problem we have is this: we have no proof of what happened. First of all, we can't charge anyone with a crime, which does present a real barrier for the Justice Department once they can't do that. Now, there is an exception. In the public interest, you can still put out information. So I would say this fits into that category. But then when you put it out, maybe they're saying that there'll be all these names of all these people who were on the plane and no indication of what they did. Nothing beyond that. Just
I think a lot of that's already out. There are flight logs. There's a lot of names. Folks understand that there were people on the plane, and I truly believe we're sophisticated enough. The attention's on this enough to separate that, a list of names of people that were on this plane, right, from the names of individuals and evidence, enough evidence to name names and bring charges against people who are. You say they say they have thousands of tapes or all this child pornography, which is disgusting. I never want to see it.
how many?
Thousands, right, of pages and documents and videotapes and
so where did
images
that
of
come
child porn from
There were
Epstein.
thousands of pages and documents and pictures of kids. Where the hell did that come from? And
From-
who's with the kids?
Yes, exactly. Right. And so I don't want to see it. Unfortunately,
Is there any-
somebody
I mean,
at the FBI's got to
is there
dig
any
through it.
indication? So we see kids, all right?
Yeah.
Is there any indication who's with the kids?
Right. And that's what we don't know because of the way they've bungled the whole thing. And that's a possibility. There's a strong possibility, right, that maybe even what the government has or we're able to get, because of how corrupt it is, even if Bongino, Cash, and Bondi are all 100% on the up and up and trying to do the right thing, right? They may even be running into some problems, but they got to be more transparent. The way they've communicated this is absolutely atrocious, especially because two of these individuals, who yes, we do respect, were on the leading charge, right, of calling out the lack of investigation and the lack of charges coming against people, and all of a sudden they get the job 5-6 months in.
They were. I would say I don't remember Cash completely, but I look at the quotes, and Cash was
Right.
pretty much out there too.
Right.
Even Bondi. But I mean, Dan was very much out there.
Right.
Dan, I remember. I mean, I think when I interviewed with Dan at the Republican convention, we talked about it.
Yeah.
I have to go back and
Yeah.
look, but I'm pretty sure we talked about it.
Well, and the videos are just making themselves, right? You just go back to their frequent campaign appearances, especially Cash, where he would just,
Yeah, but I
say
mean,
one thing and now,
Dan is the one I know best.
yeah, well,
of the
all-
three.
you know,
And I have to tell you, there's nothing about it where I don't trust Dan 100% right now, right this minute. If I had a case and I needed to, if I were kidnapped somewhere, since my friend Bernie's gone, I would tell you, go get Dan Bongino.
so
I trust my life to him.
Do you think Epstein killed himself?
What?
Do you think Epstein killed himself?
Look, what I can prove are two different things, right?
Sure.
I cannot prove that. I have a great deal of difficulty with Epstein killing himself
Yeah.
for reasons that haven't been explained to me. I do not understand how that camera was out for so long and nobody knew about it, because I know that facility. There's an office, I remember, where you have all the cameras. So if that camera was out, somebody sat there for a very long period of time and saw a camera out. How long in a high security situation with the highest security prisoner in the United States do you sit there with a camera out?
Well, apparently 1 minute per day, every day, is what we're coming to learn.
Well, I told you this before. I think that's a bit of a red herring.
Okay.
I think 1 minute doesn't matter. I can work my way around 1 minute. This didn't happen in 1 minute.
But maybe the
But the whole camera was out.
Maybe the entry into the facility, like
maybe. But I want to. I have
because these are sophisticated players that wanted him dead. They're not amateurs.
I even have more basic, bigger questions than that. Like one or two of the cameras was out for like hours. One of the guards didn't come to work that day.
Yeah. You know how these places are run. Are they typically run much better? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's an #1 facility, or used to be. It's been replaced now by Brooklyn, but it's the place that I use for all the mafia people. It's the place that I use for Nazi war criminals. I never had a problem. I mean, that's where I put anybody from Fat Tony Salerno to Milken to Lemke to, I mean, all kinds of people. Extraordinarily sensitive people who were in great danger. And I always thought of it as a place really hard to commit suicide because it's low. And it's so small, it's filled with cameras. I just like an answer to one question. How could the camera be out for that long? We have cameras here, right? If that doesn't have a battery and it's out, by the time, when this show is over, we fix it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't stay that way.
Well, and we have the power
and
source.
we don't need it, and we don't need it, and we don't need it 24 hours a day. But we make sure that the next time it's working. When cameras are out, you fix them. Now, I think, and I could be wrong, please tell me I'm wrong, but I remember there's a big thing like this in the guard booth, right? So that's all the cameras. So if his cameras were out, I think there were 2 that were out, there'd be a big blank screen there.
Yes.
And a big blank screen there for 12 hours.
It's just not.
What was the guy doing? Masturbating?
Well, and you're supposed to be able to prevent a
Who's
suicide.
the guy on CNN that was masturbating on the thing?
It's unacceptable. You don't get to use that as it's every night. This is a regular occurrence. We were missing our most high profile clients.
The problem is
not we sneak in all the shit.
That's what I'm saying. It's almost like that's when it's on purpose. And they've always set it up to have that minute missing. So the day they needed to, they could,
So this administration that is so open, the problem here is they're not answering the questions.
Yes, that's right. That's a bigger issue.
Let's not even get to the conclusions.
Right.
Maybe the only reason we're coming to the conclusions that we're coming to, we don't have the information.
It's their actions have made things worse, and what they've said on it. And I can't help it.
The basic questions that have been there from the very beginning, they haven't answered. Why were the 2 cameras out? Why weren't they fixed? If there were 2 people missing, why didn't they go get substitutes for them? After all, this guy was the highest security guy they had all over America in that prison. They were already on warning that he might commit suicide. They had him in the suicide ward. Why did they take him out of the suicide ward? It isn't as if like this guy was Mr. Happy Guy, and it's a big shock that he committed suicide. For 2 weeks, they were worried he's going to commit suicide.
So they should be watching him.
Yeah.
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so.
They should be watching him.
And so I think one concern folks have is just how their delivery when they came to the conclusion and seemed to accept it after years of questioning the government's position and the government's communications on this matter, they came out, okay, even if you're being told by everybody that you're talking to in the building, right? This is to Cash and to Dan, they came out and just said everything we've seen, Epstein killed himself, and that's that, right? And they seem to just accept that. I would have expected more of a to this point.
So
this is
ask me the questions. Ask me the questions that are troubling you, and I'll explain to you. I'll explain to you what the answer is, as opposed to. I know exactly what you're saying. It's very, very, very true. I think they gave a conclusory. Here they were so sure.
Yeah.
And now they give us a conclusory. He committed suicide.
That's it.
It's a pure 180.
And they accepted it. And they seem to accept it.
What about the cameras that were out? What about the guards that weren't there? What about the fact that it's a very low-hanging, exactly how did he do it? What about the conflicting coroner's reports? Did you get a third coroner to come in and look at the two to see which, what I would have expected is, honestly, I think they owe the American people that. They owe the American people that explanation.
Something.
Yes, exactly. What you expected was, this is what we're told
by
so
the
far,
way,
but I'm continuing
That
to.
explanation doesn't give up any names or.
Exactly.
And then we can get into giving up the names and how we do it.
Yeah.
And so we're not even at that stage yet. They've blocked off that stage.
And so maybe their inexperience in such a high profile job running an organization, right, is maybe
Well,
showing. I mean,
it's
right, these are
possible.
very nuanced. Right. And
Or someone's pulling levers because they did look like they just saw 100 ghosts.
and this
before
is
they went
yeah.
on
Oh,
the
and this
interview.
is us giving them the benefit of the doubt. Really.
And why is it that now, of course, we don't have the facts, but we do have, I think, pretty much solid that Bongino wants to quit because of Bondi. What's the difference between?
Right.
So why doesn't he want to quit over Cash, but Bondi?
I kind of think
So
he
there's
just
gotta
wants
be
to quit, to be honest with you.
I mean, if that makes any sense, right? There's got to be a difference between Bondi's position and Cash's position.
I would put Cash as a firmer, like, release the files kind of guy, until recently.
I think one possibility is that they saw the backlash. They maybe figured, well, we can get our people under control on this, and if they hear it from us, they'll accept it, right? And maybe they're learning some hard truths about how much people care about this, and they're not just gonna, especially on our side of the aisle, we're not sheep. We don't listen.
It's a little bit of our own making, right? I mean, we made this.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Not the politically astute thing to do, care
and
about
by
this
the way,
stuff.
I
Yeah.
think it is important.
Of course.
I think it is important because no one has dispelled yet the possibility that this has to do with national security.
Right. And if that's the explanation,
I mean,
give us the explanation.
You got to be a jerk not to think that this could have something to do with national security, the way it's been handled, that this guy was being used by somebody. I mean, some people say the Israelis, some people say the American, some people say we don't know who he was being used by.
Yeah.
But it seems
That's apparently why he got out of his charges earlier on with Acosta, the earlier case he got, I think, like
that was a very strange situation too, right?
And we'll see.
And why do we have given the fact that we came into office to fix all this, why do we have ourselves entangled in all this?
Look, I wouldn't have necessarily. Look, the job wasn't going to be pretty. I hope Cash and Dan, I mean, of all people, they must have understood
I
that.
never thought this would be the problem, though.
And you're not going to make friends, but you had a job to do. You got the job, and your base, the people that watched you for years, this was one of the top issues to your base, the people that helped get you to these roles. And for them to come out 3 or 4 months into their role.
He was one of the main fundraisers for the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
There is a dispute between I'm not sure if it's between whether Bill Clinton ever went to Pervert Island or not, or he went 27 times, or he went a few times or 27 times. I don't remember if there are either admitted or proven occasions when Clinton went there.
Yeah.
But
What's your gut tell you?
the allegation, I remember the number, allegation has consistently went. There are logs that show he went there 27 times. He denies that. I think he denies ever going there. I'm not sure. But he certainly denies going there 27 times. Now, there'd be a big difference between going there 4 times and 27 times. If you went there 4 times, it's conceivable you didn't know what was going on. If you went there 27 times, it's inconceivable that you didn't know what was going on. It also would be inconceivable that this guy had taken there 27 times and take the risk that you would find out that he was a molester of little boys. I think he did. I think it's pretty clear he led 2 lives.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was.
He
Yeah.
led a life where he was a theoretically a legitimate financial genius with great political connections and a big donor to the Democrat Party, and maybe kind of a playboy that would go out with young girls, but not underage girls, like the kind of thing that Belichick is in trouble for, right?
Yeah, like college girls.
And maybe not quite the age difference, but that kind of thing. He's 50, she's 22.
Yeah.
You may not like that, but that's perfectly legal.
This is America still, so
Yeah.
freedom.
So that was his profile, right?
Yeah.
Then it comes out that he's alleged to be a pedophile, and we get statements. I think, please, I hope I don't have this wrong. Didn't Pam Bondi say that there were enormous number of tapes with children?
Yes. And then she came out in a press conference, and so she got caught on tape saying that. I think O'Keefe or someone posted the video.
So
and
now
then she came out in a press conference and said,
well, now even forget the national security part of that. The minute you tell me there are tapes with a tremendous number of children doing illegal sex acts, this is a very big case.
This is a big case, Mayor. And again, no one is asking the wrongly accused. We're not, look, we can debate. Look, the FBI, the DOJ, these are the professionals. They should be able to find a way to get out the material that we've been asking for without wrongly accusing people, right, of participating in underage, the raping of kids. We'll just put it bluntly. That's what it is. It's rape.
Yeah. Of course.
But as we've said, this is and that alone is enough reason to pursue this at all costs. But it's become, right, the whole Epstein issue has become kind of, it represents something larger, right? And the ability for a small class of people to get away with something so heinous,
I'm not even concerned with this as a political issue.
Right.
I'm concerned with it as a moral.
Yes.
Issue, because I think we should treat allegations about children differently than we do anybody. Children need more protection than anyone else. It's part of the problem we have, and we don't pay enough attention. We think about fentanyl, and we think about Transderogua, and we think about all the crimes they commit, and there's a lot of attention to that. But I don't think we really still have an understanding of how many children were illegally brought into the United States, and how many of them are missing, and how many of them are currently being misused, tortured, being used as sex slaves, being used as labor slaves, and maybe even being killed.
Well, I'll throw a free plug
How about
out
300,000?
Right.
Is that enough for you?
Free plug for Sound of Freedom, because that actually did bring it to a lot of people's attention.
Yeah, and what did they do to Sound of Freedom? They attacked it like the Romans attacked the early Christians.
But we have, a lot of people thought it was the most inspirational thing.
Well, you remember, were you with me when we went to see it?
I saw it in Michigan.
Here. We saw it here, yeah.
Great. I saw it in Michigan,
Maybe
but people were crying, and it was packed. Packed.
It was a
the president was shook up.
Yeah.
I mean, the president to be was shook up.
So when it comes to these sorts of crimes against children, it definitely shouldn't be about the partisan politics, as you said, Mayor. And frankly, we want answers.
I can dispel one thing for sure, and that is that this has nothing to do with President Trump. I've got definitive evidence that has nothing to do. I'm not even going to go through it again. I've gone through it 50 times. President Trump's perspective on this is coming from the advice he's getting from them, and I think he's right in a way. These other things are the things he's dealing with have to do with the future survival of the world.
Look at the portfolio.
However,
absurd.
This is still important, even though what's going on with Putin. Look, you can't escape the fact that Putin could destroy the world. Okay. I remember living through. You guys are too young to have lived through the Cuban Missile Crisis. But, there's Khrushchev, the ships are coming. Kennedy's going to attack him. Was Khrushchev going to use atomic retaliation? Didn't know.
How scary of a feeling.
So
right?
I think that was the closest we came to nuclear war. I don't think we're there right now.
I feel like there's an India-Pakistan situation. That
But they
might
haven't threatened it.
Who?
So the Russians, Lavrov, and I think that really got the president. I think that really turned the president. He's not saying it because he hates to use the word nuclear war, but not Lavrov, Medvedev threatened Finland and Sweden with atomic attack because they joined NATO. Now, I think he's being a big mouth, but that's not something you can be a big mouth about. You can't be a big mouth about nuclear weapons. You notice the president's not a big mouth about, even when he says, I'm going to bomb you, he never says with the nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
But Medvedev, who is Putin's mouthpiece, said, we may use nuclear weapons against Finland and Sweden because they joined NATO. Nobody else better join NATO because they are scared shitless of NATO. And by the way, they should be, with NATO doubling the amount of money they're putting in.
Well, they're finally stepping up enough to even.
Yeah, but
Right.
Putin caused that.
Exactly.
He caused it. He scared them enough. And the reason that Finland and Sweden are in NATO, which they always resisted, because they were afraid of him.
One more thing back to Epstein for just a second. I'm excited, well, not really excited, but I'm interested to see what Alan Dershowitz,
Well, he says there is a list. He says there are names.
I think he's like
Alan
He says that there's a reason that
Alan
he's
has
found
been, I mean, Alan is another very good friend. And Alan's, what they did to Alan in this is totally crazy. I mean, who can ever vouch completely for somebody else? If I can, I will vouch for the fact that Alan Dershowitz is absolutely ridiculous, is not a pedophile.
I've admired both of y'all since law school a lot. I've admired both him and you. Since
Yeah, I
law
mean,
school.
Alan is not, I'm sorry. Go find somebody else to pick on. And he's the wrong guy to pick on because he definitively proved that he wasn't. However, he did a lot of discovery in that case, personally to vindicate himself. And if Alan's not going to say there's a list if there wasn't a list.
But he better be careful.
Yeah, I mean, he better be careful anyway. I mean, the poor guy has.
Yeah, well, so
Yeah, I followed Alan's case and actually offered to be a witness for him until he actually cleared him. He cleared himself very effectively to a fairly well. But I'm going to have to read this. I have to exactly what he means by he saw a list. Yes. And he also says in the settlement of the case, he was bound to secrecy. Well, I can understand that.
Yeah, but
I think they allowed him to see the list so that he can say he's not on the list. So he can personally be assured that he's not on the list, which means he saw the names of all the other people on the list. And I think he had to sign an NDA.
do you think he has it? Do you think
No.
he had to
I don't think
memorize
he,
it,
well,
really?
I don't know that he has it or not. I think at least he has it in his memory, which is a pretty damn good memory.
Yeah, because that's one that's going to burn in there, right? Like,
Yeah, particularly the ones who are famous, right?
or that
I think if I was on the list, he would have called me.
Yeah.
Rudy, what the heck were you doing on that list?
Yeah.
You see, it's just crazy.
So is it going away? Is it staying? What's the deal? Is it?
look, it's not going away.
It's not going to go away. They're going to eventually there's going to have to be a press conference. They're eventually going to have to reveal whatever the hell they have.
That's it. It's quite simple. And again,
And the longer you wait, the worse it is. But sometimes you can see the future and the people involved in it can't.
and you saw this coming, Mayor. We were talking about it last week. We kept looking at that video from a month ago. And by the way, I'm still I won't speak for you guys, but I'm still supporting Cash and Dan. Right? It's a tough job. It's a really tough job.
The explanation here is these guys are telling the truth. To the extent that they know, there is no list.
And by the way, when they say list
I said
again,
that they know.
yeah, that they
Do
know.
they have everything? I don't know.
And that's why I think people.
Why would the FBI leave everything behind?
Yeah, right. Remember, yeah.
Why would the crooked FBI leave everything behind so the honest FBI could prosecute?
I was
Especially
hoping Cash could figure it all out.
Especially knowing that President Trump was coming in, and he had said he was coming in there to clean up these organizations.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
in
the
Biden's final
the
days,
Brennan Comey situation is different. It relies on their testimony before Congress. So the FBI is not in control of that. Also, a lot of the evidence had already been captured by the special prosecutor, both the Mueller guy and the other guy. So you couldn't destroy all that. It's already been.
yeah,
It's as if
I'm sure they
had done
destroyed
a
some of
major
it.
investigation of Epstein and written it all up. But you can't do anything about
Ooh,
that.
here's
Right.
a little glimmer of hope. Maybe the whole IT operation is just taking so long because they have to do some forensic.
Maybe they do.
They should have said that.
No, they definitely, but
Well,
not if it'll give away anything. Not if like people can still go into the cloud and perhaps delete things that they still want to track down. I don't know. This is real benefit of the doubt.
Well, I got to show people something that's I told you so. Okay. This is against the Wall Street Journal, and it's in the Wall Street Journal. Recession risk seen cooling, right?
Hope so.
Even amid turmoil on tariffs. What did they tell you? The big recession because of tariffs. You can still keep reading the Wall Street Journal.
It's hard to trust
but
them,
do not treat it as the gospel of Jesus Christ, okay? Trump and I know more about economics. That's what that says. These are just things I need to get you ready on. The key Secret Service agent in the screw up at Butler County apparently hasn't been punished. Now, who is the key guy? I don't know if they name him, but he's the guy that was the sort of the arbiter of information transfer. So this is a critical role that he played. So 25 minutes before Trump was shot at, a police officer or state trooper, not identified clearly, but one of the law enforcement officers of Pennsylvania came to him and said that there was a very, very suspicious guy on the roof. Turns out to have been crooks, right? And I'll read it to you. One state police officer, who was in the room told the committee that he relayed information on crooks to the agent. This is the agent who was let off, letting him know that local cops were hunting for the suspect. The agent, who was not named, was made aware of all this about 25 minutes before the shooting. Yet he allegedly never relayed the information to everyone involved in securing the rally, according to the report. The expansive report singled out a Secret Service security room agent who was in charge of managing communications between local and federal law enforcement parties at the event. The local state trooper says, I got a distinct impression that there's like a lack of urgency. The state officer told the committee about his dealing with the room agent. After his first check-in, the officer went back to the room to let the room agent know that Crooks was spotted now on a rooftop. But again, it did not seem as if the agent passed on the information to anyone. When pressed by the committee over his version of the events, the room agent gave a conflicting story, claiming he was never made aware of a person on the roof. The agent also acknowledged that he had no other contact with local law enforcement on the day of the shooting, and that he had never seen the operations plan put together by local officials before the rally. Now, that has to be resolved. Somebody's telling the truth and somebody's lying. And there has to be, unless I'm sadly mistaken, some corroboration of that. These people are not all alone in the room. When the state police officer went to him twice, there had to be other people in that room, either other state police officers or other federal agents. When he conveyed that information, did anybody hear it? Now, the federal agent has taken himself out of it completely. He's saying, I never heard that. So if there's proof that he did, that's pretty damaging. Now, this guy was allowed to retire. This has got to be run down. You got to resolve that. You can't leave that open. Who's telling the truth? The state policeman? It's very, very serious. If the state policeman told them that there's a suspicious guy on the roof with the one place where you could blow the president's head off, and he never communicated it, I don't know, sounds like the guy's working for somebody. Or he's the biggest complete jackass that ever lived. And if he's lying about it now, it's even worse. If the state policeman's not telling the truth, that's pretty damn bad too. But it turns out that he's not telling the truth about something that actually happened. Sounds more like he is telling the truth, right? Why would the guy lie when it actually happened? Well, there are possibilities. But you see how I'm analyzing this? They don't appear to have analyzed it this way. Now, I'm going to tell you why I come away from this with they don't really give a shit what happened. I don't think they did from the beginning. I don't think they do now. I don't get any sense of urgency in this, just the way the police officer said. The day after this occurred, the FBI said, we haven't been able to investigate this yet. We don't know anything about it yet. Then they were asked, was anybody else involved? No. Well, you tell me if you haven't investigated yet and you have no information about it, how do you know nobody else was involved in it, except you want to make sure nobody else was involved in it? There's something very, very wrong with these two investigations. And all of this happening at a period of time with all these Iranian fatwas going around. And the guy in Palm Beach having gone to Ukraine. Yeah. Whoa. We don't know why. Why did he go to Ukraine? What's a hell of a country to pick? You got about 5 groups here that had a motive to kill him. Doesn't mean they did. It does mean you got to investigate all those connections. How about the fact you got to investigate it because they're still out there? Just the other day, they put out a big fatwa on President Trump. Well, a lot to be done. Now, what I want you to do now, we had our very, very intense, highly intellectual discussion of Epstein in which we don't know shit, right? Because they're not giving us shit. I wanted to spend some time on Mandani, Mandumi, Mambumbi, but I'm tired of them. Just suffice it to say, if my friends in New York elect a communist, I don't know yet. There'll be very serious consequences from me. I may go there and make your life miserable or something. Cuomo's back. I understand Cuomo's back. Yes, and my real estate agent in Florida told me he was overwhelmed by elderly people seeking homes in Florida. And he told them, I got so many clients now. And Cuomo's not going to get elected. You know what they said? Just in case.
Yeah.
We know he doesn't like old people. we're rather vulnerable, and we don't want to be part of another 160,000 that he kills or whatever it was.
The old people are gathering to resist Cuomo.
Look, I hope he peels some votes off of Mamdani.
And
That's where it'd go.
I think he should be
And
asked.
and it helps Curtis.
I think he should be asked to. He's getting so skinny. He must be on Ozempic. But he's getting kind of old himself. Why does he dislike old people? I don't know. His father didn't dislike old people. His brother doesn't dislike old people.
It's like a self-hating thing.
Why does he dislike old people? I don't know. I think what he does is he likes all the money that he gets from the nursing homes that are really at the core of this. And nobody mentions that. This was not without motive. Come and check with me. I'll tell you what it was. How this guy could be running for mayor is, I don't know. We've had a lot of crooks in New York. We just never had anybody that just liked to kill old people. But Mamdani is, if it wasn't this serious, it'd be a joke, right? So now the guy, when he was in college was working with people who killed Americans. I don't know. That surprised you. Rasmia Youssef O'Day. He did a couple of terrorist murders, just 2 or 3. Wasn't a lot. Wasn't like Arafat, 27, but 3.
But Mamdani says, yeah, I'm going with that guy. That's my
guy.
guy.
Yeah. I mean, he killed the right people.
Yeah.
Jews and where do they find these people? Meanwhile, there's another police killer who's on the way to parole. This will be number 44. These are all due to the, not only does Cuomo not like old people, he doesn't like police officers, because his parole law that he passed in 2018 has now let 44 police killers out on the street that were serving life in prison. They all should have a big Cuomo sign on them. We are Cuomo's police killers out on the street, because he was sucking up to the radical, insane left wing of the Democratic Party. Oh, and there are about 7,000 or 8,000 others of us who are out because of the bail law, because of the change in age law, and because of the parole law. And we're the reason why we have crime in New York. And the reason crime is down is Adams. Not that I'm for Adams. I kind of like Sliwa better, but Cuomo? Come on, Andrew, get the hell out of it. Get out of it. Well, I'm going to get off now. I thought it was really nice that the president went to the last FIFA World Cup game in East Rutherford on Sunday, because now my son will take over for next year to get ready for the World Cup. Andrew Giuliani. We'll have him on and have him explain what he and his great team are doing. And it's going to help America with a lot of other security solutions, because the security solutions you use there can be used. I mean, this is like the ultimate in security. So, going to be some action. Going to be some action in Iran. There's going to be some action in Russia. So stay tuned. Stay with us. Go over to Dr. Maria now, and you'll get some real insight, hopefully, into the Epstein thing beyond us. She's smarter than we are, right? And you didn't say yes, and he did. And I think I've covered everything that I need for you to know that the crooked media isn't giving you, which is why you come to me and why you should listen to me. Because I'm gonna tell you everything. And if I'm missing something, you call me and you let Ted know, and we'll cover it. I mean, we need help. A lot of stuff we got, like the first warning on the alien killers about 3 years ago, we got from you guys. You contribute a lot, and thank you. Thank you very much for helping us. And please, 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 please. Maybe we're going to get to a solution in Ukraine. I know the government is corrupt. I know there are a lot of corrupt people in Ukraine. And I know we gave them a lot of money. And I know that all of it didn't go where it should go. It still doesn't involve all the people that got killed for nothing. They didn't do that. Those people in Ukraine are good people. They're God-fearing people. They're Christians of all different kinds and Jews. They share, many of them share, the overwhelming majority share your values. And first they were overwhelmed by Nazis. Then they were overwhelmed by Soviets. Then they were overwhelmed by their own crooks. Maybe there's a chance through this and through Trump, who's really turned out to be quite a liberator. Maybe there's a chance the people of Ukraine can have a decent life. And man, they can be contributors. They can solve a lot of our rare earth problem with China. And they can become an ally like Israel. They're very strong people. You saw that. You see that in what they're doing with Russia. Those are good candidates for allies. I work with them very, very closely, both in Kyiv and in Kharkiv, that I have a very, very strong association in my heart for them, because they fought off those Putin bastards for a long, long time. Maybe now they're going to prevail. And pray for the people of Israel. You don't have braver people on earth than the people of Israel. I used them for my strength on September 11th. You tell me who's stronger than the people of Israel. Maybe us. Maybe. We'll see. I think we are. We have been in the past. Question is, do we still have it? I think we do. And pray for the people of Iran, also really exceptional people.
I don't want to cut off the close, but we do have a birthday in the house.
Oh, and who is it?
It is Mr. the Great Ted Goodman. Yeah.
Oh, man. Those girls are going to go crazy. Put Ted on. There he is.
No, I'm not drinking that.
A little champagne?
Yeah, of course. Only the best.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Stephen.
Only the best. No, well, Dr. Maria gave this to us, actually. Who actually is on right now, believe it.
Okay, so you go on Dr. Maria, and tomorrow we're going to have a birthday celebration for Ted. He just doesn't know that yet. So happy birthday, Ted. He's only 25, and he's not married.
Definitely not married.
You know what that means?
But we encourage marriage. We
we
encourage marriage on this program.
You know what our numbers are going to go up about 20,000 now.
Marriage.
All girls. They're dying for him. It's ridiculous.
Thank you all for the birthday wishes. Gary, Nerdette,
I know he's good looking, but not that
Rafal,
good.
Dave, Daryl.
Very charming. He's very charming. He's good with kids too. He makes up games for them. Seriously. They had a birthday party for Maria's dad yesterday, and they were all upset that he came a little late because he organizes all the games.
That was a fun party.
We had a good time, but yeah, we played cornhole last year. Everyone, it wasn't just the kids, the adults, we all took part.
Yeah. I'm telling you, you should be a father. You'd be a good father. That's a big thing to be as a father. I got 2 great kids.
Right. Yes, we all want.
I'm so happy. And a granddaughter.
Marriage
Little
is
Gracie,
the goal.
And I have a fabulous.
Just be smart about it.
Believe it or not, I have a terrific daughter, extra, who's a daughter-in-law, but she's a daughter, and an extra son-in-law who really is like a son. So it's really great for me. And I hope it's great for you too. And you pray for all those people, please, and pray to God to help our president. And I don't know, maybe we should add an extra prayer to keep him safe. Gosh, the number I've never seen. I know presidential threats really well professionally. I've never seen as many as this. Well, I'm going to stop. I'm going to take 1 second. We'll take three. How about 5 seconds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to say a little prayer, okay? God bless America. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve It's because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it.